Morning. This is the video lesson for World History 2, Unit 4, The Age of Discovery. You can fill out your notes following along with the video, or you can go under the class materials. I believe it's the second topic down. You got a PDF that says pages 1 through 16, student standards, something like that. It's word for word through there. So it's there. You can follow along with this, whatever you want. This is the video lesson for the Age of Discovery. So, with European exploration, three things. God, gold, and glory. The three G's they were looking for, okay? You had an increased demand for gold, spices, and natural resources in Europe. You had support for the diffusion of Christianity. Now, do y'all know what a diffuser is, like for the essential oils? Basically what it is it's a little, if you're ever up in Mr. Fraser's classroom, he's got one in the back of the room. It can be tiny or anywhere like that. The one up there is probably about that big around. You put water in it, you put a few drops of the essential oils in there, and it spreads the vapor through the room. Okay? So with the diffusion of Christianity, what this is doing is it's trying to spread Christianity throughout the world. Does that make sense? Good on diffusion? You have political economic competition between the European empires. You had the innovations of European and Islamic forces and navigational arts. You had the pioneering role of Prince Henry the Navigator. I thought I still had some more of my drink on my desk. I guess I already finished it. Well, that's not fun. With Prince Henry, he's Portuguese. Okay, so the prince is Portuguese. Good there. Okay, I'm not too worried about you getting them off this slide because we go through in order. On your notes, I believe it's, let me see one more quick. So I know it's on that line here. Okay, yeah, it's in the same order on your notes. So we're just going to go through these. All right, so Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama is Portuguese, okay? He sailed around the bottom of Africa to India. Now looking at this map, how do you remember this is Vasco da Gama's journey? No. Good guess, but no. What shape is it? It's a V. A V around the tip of Africa. Okay? So the V belongs to Vasco. Does that make sense? Now, he made huge profits, made a lot of money when he brought back spices. The other way to remember this is Vasco sounds like Tabasco. You put Tabasco on your food to make it spicier. Make sense, everybody? Man, y'all don't know what to do. You sat down, bell rang, and I jumped right into teaching. Like half of you aren't even awake yet. Come on, it's not like you had a long weekend or anything. All right, Columbus. Now, a lot of people hate Christopher Columbus. A lot of people love him. I don't think it's a black and white situation. Columbus is in that gray area. He did some good. I mean, he discovered the Americas. That's good. He did a whole lot of bad. Okay, the dude basically waged a genocide against the natives. He killed them all off because they were on his land. You know, the land he just discovered and they've been living on for thousands of years. So, Columbus, bad dude. Okay? But he was an Italian. The key is to remember he's Italian. He wasn't Spanish. He sailed for Spain, but he was Italian. Does that make sense? For example, how many of y'all know Miss Williams up at the main building? She's, I think, does drafting. Thanks her class. Anyway, if you have her down the road, super sweet lady. Anyway, she's lives in North Carolina. Drives up here to teach. I mean, it's like 20 minutes, but still. Drives up here to teach. So she's North Carolinian, but works in Virginia. Does that make sense? He was Italian, but worked for Spain. Okay? We good there? I just don't want you to get tripped up on a test if it says Italian and you're like, we didn't learn any Italian explorers. Columbus is Italian, but worked for Spain. Now Magellan. He gets credit for being the first person to travel the globe. Circumnavigate is the word. Now, he dies on his journey. His body makes it around the globe. Magellan doesn't. He makes it from Spain to the Philippines. Now, he's killed in the Philippines. This is like early 1521. How do they get his body back to Spain in 1522? There's no refrigerators. You can't use ice because it melts. How are they going to get his body from the Philippines all the way back to Spain? By boat. Okay, any of y'all watch Rick and Morty? Or know what I'm talking about?
Rick and Morty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's basically about this weird scientist and his grandson and their adventures. Okay? That's probably the most school appropriate reason I can give.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason I bring it up, in one episode of Rick and Morty, Rick, to get out of going to therapy, turns himself into a pickle. And that's the whole joke of the episode, is he turns himself into a pickle. That's exactly what they did with Magellan, though. They stuck him in a vat of vinegar, sealed it up, and pickled his body. They get back to Spain, take him out of the vat, and it's like the flesh just melts off the bone. So Magellan turns into Jello. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Good? Sweet. All right, Cortez. Do you remember last... here, I'll put it on here so the video kids can see. Do you remember a couple weeks ago when we did our ABCs, okay? What comes first, A or I?
I.
A comes before I. Remember? What was next on that? Do y'all remember what came next?
Wasn't it N or S?
I don't know.
Okay, which one comes first, N or S? N. Okay, we're going to add one more to this set. What comes first, C or P? C. It's a terrible P, but whatever. So, the Aztec were in North America and were conquered by Cortez. Okay? The Inca are in South America, conquered by Pizarro. Does that make sense? Told you we'd come back to this. And it might help. Whether or not it actually does, that's up to you guys. But yeah, Cortez takes over the Aztec. Mainly because Spanish have guns, the Aztec don't. They also use disease. Okay? He brought them presents. They brought them blankets. But they wrapped the blankets around people who were sick on the boat with smallpox. So it's like, here's a blanket. It's so comfortable. It's going to kill you, but we're not going to tell you that. Because you're not immune to smallpox. And basically it would be like today, someone taking a blanket who has COVID, cough all over the blanket, and then give it to an elderly person or someone who's like fighting cancer or something like that. That's effectively what they did. Now, smallpox was a much bigger killer than COVID, but I'm trying to make sense of it to you guys. Okay? And like I said, Pizarro conquers the Incan Empire in South America. Both of these guys are Spanish. Okay? Any questions so far? All right. Francis Drake was the first Englishman to circumnavigate the globe, go all the way around the world. Now, how do you remember that Drake was an Englishman that went around the world? Who's the rapper that signed to Young Money out of Toronto? Anybody? Really? Y'all know what Young Money is though, right? Okay, Lil Wayne's record label. There's 3 big artists signed to Young Money. That's Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, who has gone downhill very quickly. But no lie. Nicki Minaj back in like 08, 09, awesome. Now, not so much. The third one is Drake. Okay? Now, what language does Drake rap, sing, cry, whatever? What does he use in his art? Okay, if I cut on a Drake song, are you guys going to be able to understand it?
No, I don't even know who it is.
Know who that is?
Okay, Drake raps in English.
Yeah.
Okay? If you knew the answer, why didn't you answer? Okay, Drake raps in English. Now, if I go to South Korea and I start talking about Drake and they can understand me, do they know who I'm talking about? Yeah. What if I go to Saudi, well, maybe not Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, the UAE? Yes.
Yeah.
Israel,
Yeah.
South Africa,
Yeah.
Germany,
Yeah.
Britain,
Yeah.
France,
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is anywhere around the world, if I go and I start talking about Drake, there's a pretty good chance at least one person's going to understand who I'm talking about. Does that make sense? So Drake raps in English and he's known around the globe. Drake was English and went around the globe. Make sense to everybody? See, I try to make examples to help you understand these things. And it really hurts my examples when y'all don't know who I'm talking about.
I do know who you're talking
Not you. The other 3.
Energy though.
And you know, whoever's watching this video, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, it's your fault too.
Well, I was gonna think now, listen to rap and stuff.
Drake's not really a rapper. He doesn't do really good
Drake's the
rap.
music you put on if you're sad. If you get broken up with, you put on Drake and you just cry into like a pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Yes. I like
Been
that.
there, done that, not a fun time. Okay, speaking of rap, Jacques Cartier. Jacques Cartier is French. Okay? We're not talking Cardi B. Cartier. He's French. He discovered Canada through the St. Lawrence River. Now, the way to remember this, with Canadians. Now, let's rewind a second. I know I said at the beginning, first day of school, we respect everybody. We don't talk about stereotypes. We're very nice to people, right? That doesn't apply to Canada. We're going to make fun of Canada real quick. Now, and we make fun of them for 2 reasons. Canada gave us 2 things that they deserve to get made fun of for. Justin Bieber and Nickelback. Both of those came from Canada. We ought to go to war, but neither here nor there. So, Canada, they like to say a few phrases that if someone says it, you know they're from Canada. Okay? They like to talk about the moose, the hockey game, okay? Maple syrup, and sorry. Y'all ever heard of, y'all know what a Mexican standoff is from like the old westerns?
No.
It's where everybody holds the gun to everybody, but no one shoots.
Yeah.
Y'all ever heard of a Canadian standoff?
No.
Okay? It's like when you got double doors, like up there in the fishbowl. Someone's holding the first door and someone's holding the other door, but neither of them want to walk because they don't want to be rude and close the door on the other person's face. So you're standing there, these 2 people holding the door saying, no, you go first. No, you go first. No, I'm sorry, you go first. No, I'm sorry, you go first. And it just goes on for hours. Okay? Wow, usually that gets at least 1 laugh. Y'all are terrible. Okay, anyway,
I don't know
the key of this, the main thing if you hear someone say, hey, the Canadian, I'm sorry, hey, the moose was in the driveway and I couldn't get out. Sorry. Hey, you see the hockey game last night? Hey, you want to go get some maple syrup? Hey, whatever. stereotypically in cartoons or TV, movies, whatever, the Canadians say A like every other word. Okay? So Jacques Cartier found Canada. Makes sense. Okay. Wow, that was brutal. Okay. Few different ways to diffuse religion, and we're running out of time. Awesome. You have the migration of colonists to new lands, so the religion went with the people that moved. That's what this is. These are literally the same thing. You have the conversion of indigenous people. You have the conversion of the natives. Basically, it was, you're going to follow Jesus, or we're going to kill you. I mean, that's one way to get your religion spread, right? Mm-hmm. So, and half the time the natives didn't even know what they were being forced to believe in. They just knew if we listen, we don't die. We did some really bad things to the natives. By we, I mean the English, French, Spanish, all of them. Okay, in Africa, they migrated to new colonies in the Americas, creating new cultural and social patterns. They set up trading posts in Africa and Asia over here. Okay? In the Americas, you have the expansion of territories. You have the demise of the Aztec and Inca. They're killed mainly through disease, but they're just completely wiped off the face of the earth. We'll talk about the class system and dictators in Latin America in a couple weeks. You have the forced migration of Africans. They are captured in their home continent and then forced to come to the Americas through slavery. And the colonies imitate the culture and social patterns of their parent countries. You see that a lot around here. Okay, the way to think of this is people, when you're young, more times than not, you form the way you look at the world by how your parents look at the world. Like you agree with like their politics, or you grow up liking the kind of music they listen to because it's what you listen to as a kid. Like I love Bon Jovi. To this day, I love Bon Jovi because my mom listened to it when I was a kid. We had a CD, a burned CD, me and my dad, had 4 songs on it. It had Paradise City by Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses, Taking Up Space by Van Zandt, and Inner Sandman by Metallica. And we would listen to that CD on repeat whenever we went to Virginia Tech games when I was little. To this day, those 4 songs I love because they bring back those memories of when I was a kid. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So stuff your parents do affects you and kind of makes you kind of lean the same way. Now when you get older, you might fight with your parents over religion or politics or whatever, but at your base, you have similarities because you're the child to the parent. Does that make sense? Same thing here. The colonies imitate the parent countries. So Spanish colonies look like Spain, English colonies look like England, French colonies look like France. Make sense to everybody? Awesome. Y'all are great with this participation. I might as well be talking to those 2 skeletons in the back of the ring. Asia. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, with Africa, and we're going to go more into this in a second. You have European trading posts set up along the coast. They trade in slaves, gold, and other resources. Other resources, this is talking about like ivory, salt, things like that. Asia, you have colonization by small groups of merchants in India, the Indies, and China. You have the influence of trading companies with the Portuguese, Dutch, and British. Columbian exchange. So usually I would use y'all stuff to do this, but I ain't touching your stuff. I don't know if you're sick or not. So
You can tell by something check.
True, but I'm too lazy to go over there and look at it right this second and say, oh, okay, it's okay for me to try this with you. Okay, so listen, I got 3 things laid out on this desk in front of me. Okay? Got my keys, my clicker, and my phone. Now, if I just switch 2 of these things, so I switch the clicker with the phone, that's an exchange. Okay, there's 2 sides. Okay? Now, if I trade the keys for my phone, and then trade my keys For the clicker, that's 3 parts. How many sides are there to a triangle? 3. So that's the triangular trade. Columbian Exchange just has the 2 sides. Does that make sense? Old World is talking about Europe, Asia, Africa. New World is talking about the Americas. So from the Western Hemisphere, the New World, there's corn, potatoes, and tobacco sent to Europe. From the Old World to the New World, there's horses, cattle, and disease, mainly smallpox. Make sense? Smallpox. With the Columbian Exchange, you have a shortage of labor leading to the use of slaves. Slavery was based on race. This is the most easy question on the test. Okay, everyone should understand that slavery was based on race. The plantation system destroyed indigenous economies, changed the environment. Triangular trade. From Europe, from the Americas to Europe, there's raw materials. From Europe to Africa, there's manufactured goods. From Africa to the Americas, there's slaves. This part right here, the slaves, that was known as the Middle Passage. Questions? All right. Export of precious metals, gold and silver was sent from the Americas to Europe and Asia. This caused the indigenous empires to collapse. And this made Spain super, super rich because gold and silver was mainly found in Latin America, so basically Mexico down. Spain got super, super, super rich. Questions? I can't believe I pulled that off. Okay. So, if you are watching this, that was super quick. If you have questions, leave a comment on the video, shoot me an email, something like that. I will help you out. You got vocab, a test review to do now. Vocab quiz will go live tomorrow. Test will go live probably Friday. So, have any questions, let me know. Y'all have a good one.